First I had my birthday. March 9th, 1966, I turned 19. Well, we crossed the international date line and I celebrated my birthday again. We landed on my birthday in Vietnam. I thought that was quite a nice birthday present. I was supposed to go to the 1st Cavalry Infantry Division, and big old officer come in there with stars all over him, and he says, you guys are going to the 1st Infantry Division. But I said, well, I have orders for the 1st Cav. He says, the 1st Cav don't need you, we need you now. And they had just had a bad bunch of guys got killed. So they took us over there. I was in the outfit for 2 weeks. We got ambushed out in the jungle, and we lost 14 guys. Most of my squad was gone. It was just me and 2 sergeants left. And anyway, those guys all passed away. They're all on the wall. And on the last trip to Washington, I went and visited them. They had a deal over there. We got all these packaged stuff, you know, cards and candy and all this stuff. We'd take it to the villagers and give it to them. Well, the Viet Cong would come in at night and pick all that stuff up. And we knew it. So when we went down to that village with our trucks, and we had 2 truckloads of guys, all saying, bunch of good guys. Rex Naylor was my buddy over there, and he was with me that night. And we had a separate ambush on the trail. And it was like the trail, it was moonlight, but in the jungle it's absolutely dark. And we're in the jungle. The trail's about 3 feet in front of us. And when you looked out towards the trail, it was like that yellow brick road, you know, Wizard of Oz. You could see that trail just as pretty. And I just laid down because it was my turn to be off guard. And Naylor stepped up, and he's standing there for about maybe not even, I didn't even close my eyes, I don't think. And he says, they're coming. And at first I didn't realize, you know, you don't associate real quick to what's going on. He said, they're coming. And you could hear him talking that Vietnamese. And I got on my knee with my 16. He had his 12-gauge shotgun. And they walked in front of us, and we blew them apart. That was it. Shot them all. And we had guys down the trail that never even knew what was going on. They walked past a machine gun nest that should have killed them if we ever got to us. But we found out one was a Viet Cong officer and the other was a North Vietnamese officer. And they said in the paper we killed 5 guys. Well, I know we hit 2. They were there. But the other 3 went into the trees, and our lieutenant come after me and he said, take the sergeant and me, go out and get those bodies. And I didn't want to do that, but you're ordered to do it. So we started to crawl off into the trees, and across on the other side in the jungle, we heard this, it was a bolt like a rifle, just. That sergeant, we just backed out because we knew somebody was still over there with a rifle or something. He told the lieutenant. Lieutenant says, open fire. And everything on that was firing. Guys were throwing grenades and all kinds of crazy things, you know. And somebody could have got killed by the grenades, but finally they quit and there was no more, nothing was moving. And we took the bodies, you know, actually we had to frisk them, find out who they were. That was the part I didn't really care for. But then I thought back, they just killed 14 of our guys and nobody had any remorse for them at all. I mean, that was the way it was. I mean, I felt sorry for them, but I'd already seen my guys die. I watched General White pass away, and yeah. But I got hit pretty good again in April, the next month in '66. A friend of mine, and we were both out in the minefield, and we were supposed to pick up these mines and deactivate them. Well, he made a mistake. He picked up one mine. It's just a small one. It's called an M14, a small one, plastic mine, and he put it back on the safety trail. I'm standing there taking my mines apart, and putting clips in them. He come back and stepped on it with his right foot and blew his foot off. Well, the concussion knocked me down. We was only 3 feet apart. And I thought, well, here we are in the minefield now. What are we going to do? They're probably throwing mortars at us or something. So I played dead. I figured they ain't going to bother us. Well, nothing else happened. Maybe 2 minutes, I look back and I see his foot was gone. So I picked him up and I carried him through the safety trails all the way through the minefield till he got to some medics, and then they took him. He went home. They cleaned my back up because I had parts of his boot and everything in my back, and they pretty well screwed my back up for a while. But I went back to my outfit again. Come May, we were out in the middle of the jungle called Hobo Woods. It's a war zone D. And we didn't see any sign of the enemy at all. Usually you'll see dirt piles or something, you know. That's why the point man, when you see dirt, you back up because they're digging someplace. But I got back, and I was about the third or fourth guy that time. And I had two sergeants right with me, and there were World War II sergeants, and a Sergeant Johnson and a Sergeant O'Leary, and they knew what to do. As far as I'm concerned, those guys are better than lieutenants any day, because they were there. But I had just walked in front of a termite mound on my left side, and them things are huge. You're like a refrigerator standing there, you know, when they opened fire on us. The guy in front of me got hit in the shoulder. The guys behind me all got killed. So, and the two sergeants were there with me. But I think that's what saved my life. Otherwise, I'd have been dead too. They were just constant fire. Machine guns, and there were grenades. Oh yeah. When we got done, we finally got out. They brought tanks in to get us out of there, and APCs, armored personnel carriers. We were never so glad to see armor in our life, because we were without water, and we couldn't shoot at nothing because we were in a column that was in the center of two other columns. So if we fired left or right, we'd be shooting at our own guys. So all we could do is shoot back down the trail if somebody come up the trail again. And I was glad to see that water, I guarantee you. But it was a bad day. Had all the tendons cut behind both knees. I was in a body cast for almost 2 months. And then when I got it all ready to figure what's going to happen, they're going to send me back to my outfit. And I said, I guess so, but you got to fix my hands. And that lieutenant colonel says, yeah, you're not going back anymore. You're going to Japan. I thought, well, I really don't need a cruise here, you know. But I said, what are you going to do in Japan? I went to Yokohama, Japan. We're going to fix those hands and bring it back to Vietnam. I said, well, whatever you want to do. You know, you're in the military. I had a 4-year enlistment. I said, okay. So we went to Camp Zama, and I was at the Kashini Barracks in Yokohama. They worked on my right hand. They worked on my left arm. They cut me from elbow to everywhere. They got feeling back in my right hand because it was a close wound. They couldn't fix my left hand. They said, well, we're done. We're going to send you home. I said, home like the United States? He says, yeah, you're going to Fitzsimmons Army Hospital, Denver, Colorado. So we got on the biggest plane I've ever seen in my life. It was full of guys. And we flew across, landed in Edwards Air Force Base in California, and we went to Aurora, Colorado, which is where Fitzsimmons is. I got to Fitzsimmons in October of '66. And by the time they got done operating on me, it was 19th of May of 1969. That's 3 years. 9 days short of 3 years in the Army hospitals. I married my wife in '67 at the Army hospital because they were working on my hands. I had my first boy, Roger, at Fitzsimmons Army Hospital. And I got to live off base at least, but I'm still in the service. And on the 19th of May, they gave me my honorable discharge, plus a retirement from the United States Army. Anytime I'm not doing something, I think about it, yeah. It hasn't affected my life. You know, I still got a wife and kids, but it affected me. I get a good life, a good wife, good kids. I think that's the trouble with some guys. They come back and they don't get back to life. But I guarantee you can't forget it. War is hell, there's no doubt about that. Anybody says it isn't, something wrong. My dad was World War II, my grandpa was World War I. Army guys. My dad went through D-Day, the whole works. Oh yeah, I'll do it again. But I'd like to have a different, how would I say it? At 18 years old, this is very important. It's still important to me, the flag. But we weren't fighting for this flag, we were fighting for their flag. And we were trying to make sure they had a democratic country. And if you can't force it on the people. Those people, it was a mixture over there. They wanted to get out of what was going on. It was like a dictatorship there. And some of the people were revolting. It was rebels. And I've heard a lot of guys say we fought on the wrong side, but I don't believe that. I fought with my guys. And the North Vietnamese, if they hadn't entered the war, Vietnam would have been a democratic republic, just like South Vietnam. But I don't know, we can't change that. President Johnson, he controlled the war from Washington, D.C. I mean, we couldn't even carry, at night, on guard duty, you could not have a round in your rifle. You couldn't fire at anything that fired at you without permission. My dad also told me once, he said, what was it like in Vietnam? Well, I told him this straight out, and we're farmers. I said, I'll tell you what, I'll go out in the cornfield and I'll hide in the cornfield, and you come in and try and kill me. Oh, pretty bad, wasn't it? And I said, yeah. That was every day. There was places over there the grass was taller than we were. And you're walking through that stuff, never know what's going to happen. And then all of a sudden an explosion blows you up. That's what happened to me, you know. But I was lucky enough to live through it, and I guess it was the grace of God, I guess. But I sure worry about those guys behind me, why they didn't make it. They were some good people. Everybody, 19 years old. General White, I watched him die. I can see him right there if I really look, you know. And I never knew his first name. And that bothered me the rest of my life. Until my daughter got on this virtual wall thing. I said, look up this date. And she did. The man's name was General White. He's a colored guy. Real nice guy, 19 years old. He graduated from a Pennsylvania high school. And several years ago, American Legion magazine, or the VFW magazine, had a deal on that high school. And I take the VFW, I'm a member of that and the Legion and everything else, but I opened the book up and I get over the page, and I get to that page, and the third guy down was General White. Yeah. But otherwise, I'm doing okay. It's just hard to think about it sometimes, but you'll never forget it. Impossible.